Terence?
Crawford.
Yeah, well, yeah. Terence be following Arum too much, man. I don't know. How does Terence feel about the community and stuff like? He don't really
talk too much. To me personally.
Right. I just know, with that Arum situation, he should have been out of that situation a long time ago.
Yeah.
And he had opportunities to get out of it because they ain't gonna treat him right.
No. History shows it.
Yeah, it ain't nothing that we guessing or we assuming. Is what has already been shown. Right.
Wow, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder says Terence Bud Crawford should have been got away from his contract with Top Rank and Bob Arum, and it's apparent that he's not really been taken care of, and he had opportunities to do such for his career. I'm gonna talk about all that and more in this video. Stay tuned. Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Listen, I dropped the illest content in world boxing. If you're a fan of boxing, beautiful sport, the sweet science, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I drop daily live streams, let you know what the fighters are looking like in camp, etc. For more of that, hit the subscribe button or hit the bell notification so you don't miss a thing, and get the posts when we drop the ill dope content. So this is your one-stop shop. Terence Crawford, you heard at the beginning, Deontay Wilder. He was interviewed by Barbershop, link in the description, and he talked about Terence Crawford and his situation. He tells you that in his opinion, he feels Crawford, he would like to see him maybe talk more about the culture, and regarding his own career, he says he should have been got away from Bob Arum, and he had opportunities to do such. Now, I've told you the same thing on my channel, and this is bad news for Terence Crawford, because like me, you could be like, oh, you're not the fighter, blah, blah, blah. But when you're being judged by your peers and they're saying the same identical thing as Ego Stradamus, maybe there's some truth to it. How does this keep happening? Ego Stradamus, I keep saying stuff on wax, and then you hear my sentiments being echoed or mirrored from professional fighters, trainers, etc. Maybe there's some logic to what people are saying to Terence Crawford. I agree that, like, see, the thing that people don't understand is some relationships you outgrow. This is Top Rank. Maybe they move Teofimo or Shakur or whoever different. But in the case of Terence Crawford, it's always business. It's never nothing personal. In the words of Nino Brown, aka Ego Brown, right? He doesn't have many options. He keeps getting thrown under the bus. So when Wilder is saying that, hey, it doesn't look like he's being treated nicely, you know what I mean? This looks bad for Crawford. Furthermore, you see right there, Crawford could face, this is a Bob Arum recent interview for the Tyson Fury Wilder Fury 3 press event. Bob Arum declares that Terence Crawford could face Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, or Zepeda next. These are all 140-pound fighters. Regis Prograis hasn't fought at 47, lost to Josh Taylor, right? Still a great fighter. Ramirez just lost to Josh Taylor, and this is who Bob Arum is saying could be next for Terence Crawford. And Zepeda looked bad in his last fight. He had that Ivan Baranchyk fight, and he come back and he didn't look good, and that's sometimes what wars will do to you. So regarding the career of Terence Bud Crawford, it makes people wonder, like, what's next for him? Like, he's been quiet. They're talking about his contract ends in October. It's really curious to see what happens next. But I predicted these very moments on the channel. Bud Crawford, simply put, he's a great fighter. I've always maintained that. I've always said that. But you have to start questioning and wondering about the direction of Bud Crawford's career and who he's gonna fight. Literally everybody that Bob Arum has just told you could be next for him are 140 pounders. So if you're trying to establish dominance as the top welterweight, how on earth is that going to give you those credentials? Meanwhile, the two guys that you said you wanted to fight, Manny Pacquiao, I want to fight, I will fight Errol Spence instead of Bud Crawford. And Errol Spence, they're actually fighting. This is the thing. And you have to listen. At what time do we blame the fighters for making the decisions that get them in these situations? Crawford was in Dubai. I made a video about it. Some people speculate that, hey, maybe he goes to MTK and signs with them, or Eddie Hearn. That's great, but that's none of them guys and none of those organizations and companies, no matter what amount of money they provide for you, they do not have the top welterweights. We know the PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, say it with me, has all the top welterweights outside of Crawford. So no matter what, you can evade this fact. From Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia's been working with him, Jamal James, they got Thomas Delorme, right? All these fighters, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, whoever, bro, Berto, Jose Cito Lopez, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao's finishing up his contract, Keith Thurman. These are all top ranked fighters. So it's like this bidding war of notoriety between Errol Spence. Crawford is badly losing. You can be from Omaha, you could be from Nebraska. If you are not willing to admit the facts, then to me, I really question the yes men attitude from some people, where they don't want to just call it what it is. You could say, hey, I'm not a fan of the politics of boxing, but you can't ignore that these are real life scenarios, and it's becoming harder and harder for Crawford to establish his dominance. You could say, hey, this sucks, or it's not his fault. Some people disagree. Some people feel it is his fault, because just like Deontay Wilder told you at the beginning, Crawford has options. Fighting Amir Khan at this point wasn't going to do it. You've been set up for failure, because at this point, fighting Crawford or Crawford fighting Amir Khan, that wasn't the ticket. That wasn't what people were looking for. He had just been recently knocked out within 3 fights. He had 2 fights. One was really not a fight. Phil LaGreco, 30-second, 40-second win. And then Phil LaGreco was retired anyway. And Errol Spence already beat Phil LaGreco. And that's who Amir Khan beat. And then he had a war with Samuel Vargas. Samuel Vargas been in there with Errol Spence, got stopped. Danny Garcia got stopped. Virgil Ortiz got stopped. And Amir Khan, after the Canelo knockout, he had the most problems out of all the names I just named. Top welterweights, Virgil Ortiz, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence. Amir Khan had the hardest time with that man. So putting this on pay-per-view was bound to flop. Guys like Mean Machine, bound to flop. Because at the end of the day, this was on pay-per-view, Posto, bound to flop. These aren't the fights that people are demanding from Crawford. If your team cannot give you the fights that you want, then you have to look elsewhere, or you're content and complacent, and you're just going to keep fighting the best you can, which doesn't seem to be the Errol Spence's or Mikey Garcia or Danny Garcia or Keith Thurman or Sean Porter or Jamal James or whatever that'll get you the look. And your team told people that you were going to fight Pacquiao, and it did not happen. So, the walls are closing in on this situation. Even Shakur Stevenson, who looks at Crawford like a big brother, he said he don't like what's happening with Bud. Whether you like it or not, there's a lot of things in life that we see on the news and people don't like, but it's the reality. So I agree with Wilder. I think Crawford, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know who he's going to fight next, but I'll definitely be tapped in, and I can't wait to see what he decides, So I'm not going to speculate and say a bunch of stuff. He's a great fighter, but it's looking bad. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know how I did in this video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Use my link for TUBEBUDDY. We working. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TUBEBUDDY. I've used TUBEBUDDY for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TUBEBUDDY and level up your channel faster. We working.